we are back, and we just finished watching 2024's Abigail, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes. This is currently streaming on Peacock, but also to buy rent on Prime Video. This is tagged as dark comedy. I don't know if I agree with that. Monster horror, vampire horror, and thriller.
No, I could see that.
It's not like a scary horror.
No, it's more. I would probably say there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of gory bits. Mm-hmm. But there's no like sense of dread or suspense.
Yeah.
There's actually even very few jump scares, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's just sort of generic horror.
Generic horror is probably what this should be tagged as. I also want to give out a disclaimer. We actually saw this 2 nights ago, but we've been dragging our feet about reviewing it because it just wasn't great. It just wasn't good.
Generic is a good term for it.
Yeah. Generic horror. Yeah. It had actors that I really, really liked. I liked Melissa Barrera, who we'd seen in the newer Scream movies. I love Dan Stevens. I saw that little girl somewhere, Alicia Weir. Where have I seen her? I
don't know. I've never seen her anywhere.
She was Matilda in the Matilda movies, the musical movie.
Did you see that? I
didn't. But she's in Wicked Little Letters, which I totally want to see. We got to put that on the list.
Okay.
But Angus Cloud, who passed away, was also in this. He was the Dean character, the stoner driver. Catherine Newton.
Who seems to be in a lot of stuff recently.
Yes. Kevin Durand. He's that guy in that thing. You know who he is. Keamy from Lost, yeah. And Giancarlo Esposito briefly. Oh, also William Catlett. I don't know where I know him from, but this wasn't impressive in the slightest. Oh, and Matthew Good, I guess at the end.
Yeah, he pops in for a hot
second.
Minute. Yep.
Yeah. Production wise, it was nice. The costuming, the set pieces were all nice. It just wasn't interesting. Am I wrong?
Nah. I think the problem was they made some choices there that just were absolutely unnecessary.
Like what? Remind me.
Well, there was the whole fact. I mean, okay, we're going to spoil this.
Yeah,
it's not really much of a spoiler. This is.
I mean, you've seen the trailer. You know what it's about.
You know what it's about. It's about a bunch of people who kidnap a little girl under the assumption or belief that they're holding her for ransom, and they're all going to get a lot of money. And for some reason, they have to stay in this mansion in the middle of nowhere.
Right? That's the first red flag.
Yeah, and keep an eye on this kid until the following morning, when I guess the ransom will be delivered or the ransom will be paid out to them. Mm-hmm. Suddenly they find themselves locked in the mansion, unable to get out. And the little girl turns out to be a terrible, monstrous vampire who is just capable of ripping out throats and flying and doing all vampire-y tricks.
Right.
What I feel didn't make much sense or whatnot was it probably would have been better if they just stuck to the premise of the surface, which was we kidnap a girl and, oh my God, big mistake, she turned out to be a vampire. Mm-hmm. This, they change. Then as you watch the film, it basically changes into, oh, the little girl set up the entire kidnapping because she wants to kill her father's enemies because she misses her dad.
Yeah.
And that was just stupid.
Yeah.
That was just stupid. They should have just kept it like, oh crap, this kid's a monster.
We got to fight to survive.
We now have to fight to survive. Watch all the colorful kidnapper characters, and the characters were interesting. Everybody had their own little foibles and backstories and whatnot.
Although they kill the Angus Cloud character fairly quickly.
Yeah, well, he was probably the least interesting of them all. I mean, of all of them had some sort of like specialist background, and then he was just like
some stoner driver.
I drive, bro. You know, and
he was trying to get into Catherine Newton's pants or something.
Yeah, he would have gotten into anybody's pants if he could. He was that much of a wreck.
But, I mean, he might have also died, right? At this point, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? But then there was the other thing that happens at the very end where, like, the truth about Giancarlo Esposito is revealed.
Right.
And
that flipped quickly.
Yeah, it was just sort of like, let's just throw this in here at the end.
We forgot he was in here, so let's just put him back and
then all the nonsense with Dan Stevens, and it was just like, okay, well, I understand Dan Stevens wasn't the best guy in the world.
Right.
But this character arc that he's just had is just
beyond the pale.
It's beyond the pale. He's just embracing what's happened to him and it was just too much. Yeah. It was just really too much, and that should have never have happened.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, just kill him. Yeah. Just seriously, just kill him.
Yeah.
Deal with the monster that you have created.
Right.
And don't give me a new monster and then expect me to feel sympathy. Am I supposed to feel sympathy for this little girl?
Right. That was another thing.
Who is a brutal, vicious killing machine.
Yeah.
And up until probably the very end is just remorseless and giddy in the fact that she's killing all of these people.
Right. Yes, because Daddy didn't love her.
Yeah. And then suddenly it's just like, oh, I'm going to hold up my pinky because you said pinky promise and now we're going to be friends.
Yeah.
It's just get the hell out of here with this nonsense.
I agree with you. I think they should have just stuck with the initial plan. I don't even understand why Giancarlo Esposito was it could have just been a voice on the phone, right? It could have just been.
Seriously, he had no purpose being in this movie.
No purpose.
It could have been it should have just been the dad.
Yeah.
It should have just been the dad. Just pretending to be somebody else while he gets revenge on his enemies by feeding them to his crazy daughter.
Yeah. I mean, I think at one point before the reveal about the dad, or maybe I don't even remember, but I think I turned to you and I was like, so they just Kaiser Soze'd her? Like,
yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, they had that whole little bit where it's just like, oh my God, I forgot the name that they gave her, but like, she's a master assassin. You know, nobody even knew she was in the building. Or they thought it was. But it was overcooked. You had the basics of a decent plot for a horror comedy, thriller, whatever. And then you just overcooked it and tried to throw in too many twists, too many turns. Tried to suddenly build sympathy. I don't know. Are you trying to make a sequel, Abigail 2, because she was such a sweet kid at the end?
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's like once you've made a bad guy, that's
it.
That's bad. That's a monster.
Right. Just
I don't want to have any sympathy for this.
Yeah.
For this thing.
Yeah. This isn't Killmonger.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. This isn't Killmonger.
This is
she's not
a vicious monster that just kills.
Yeah. Let vampires be vampires.
Yeah, seriously. They don't sparkle in the twilight.
Yeah.
They don't
have tragic backstories that we need to feel sympathy for.
Yeah, they don't really love that 14-year-old. Well, I shouldn't say 14-year-old. They really don't love that young woman because they're monsters. They're monsters that have to feed. Yeah. Let's just leave it at that. Leave that there.
Don't try and overdo it.
Yeah, don't romanticize it. Don't.
Yeah, that's what I feel that they did in this movie. They just really overdid it.
Yeah.
They tried to be too clever, and it really just failed.
Yeah. Any other highlights here? I feel like this is going to be a short review because there's really not much to add.
It is gory. If you like gory stuff, this might be for you.
Do you think this is a good film to have in the background during your Halloween party?
Yeah, I can see it. It's got that color palette that you see in sort of like
background
for a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the house was gorgeous.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like a lot of the production, the look of the movie was really nice. The
rooms
aesthetic,
that they would go through,
the costuming,
they definitely spent money on this movie.
Yeah,
it was just the story wasn't good. So yeah, I think this would be perfect to play in the background, muted.
Yeah, during your Halloween party,
or just under a bed
of
a heavy soundtrack that you yourself have chosen.
Right.
Yeah, because it does have its bloody bits. It has like the kids dancing around like a little ballerina. She's doing her best to be as creepy as possible.
Yeah,
could have been creepier. I think she was. I don't know. It wasn't the disturbing little creepy girl.
Right. Not like the little boy in the ring, or
not like the little boy in the ring, or Samara from the ring,
or Samara from the ring, or Damien.
Yeah, there have been far creepier child performances. Linda Blair.
Oof.
There have been far more creepy child performances than this one. This one was sort of campy and a bit over the top.
Agreed. So this is like a horror movie without the horror.
Yeah, I would probably say that. There's nothing. I wasn't scared at all. Or I never felt anxiety or dread. No. I was just as soon as they got into the house, I was kind of just waiting for everybody to die. I was like, I was actually thinking who's going to be first.
Yeah.
And I knew it was either going to be Angus or the sniper, because he had no personality at all, really.
Not really, no.
He was probably the smallest. I mean, of all of the actors, he was probably the most unknown amongst them. So I was like, that guy's going to go first. But no, I was surprised they saved him for second.
Yeah, I actually knew it was going to be the other one, because I felt like at least the sniper had a skill. But
yeah, although they bitched him out.
They did bitch him out big time,
absolutely bitched him out to the point where I was like, did the little girl kill him? Because he was killed so silently
and so off screen,
and he's like he's just standing there.
Yeah,
and she's like, I forgot his name was Bob. Are you okay? And he just falls down.
Yeah,
it was, and the rest of the time, this kid is not being subtle.
No,
at all. She is just like a bulldozer, just jumping on people, punching them in the face, punching them in the chest. Yeah, biting them.
The other thing, I mean, he's not like an A-list actor by any means or stretch of the imagination, but I feel like I expected better from Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens does a lot of crap too.
Fair enough. Yeah. He's got that British.
He's got that British work ethic. It's sort of like, oh, is that a script? Am I in it? Okay, let's go.
Let's do this. But so I think that was like just disappointing, because I want better for him. Maybe, I don't know. So this kind of took me out a little, and it was just it's long. It's an hour and 49 minutes. This movie should have been like 80 minutes.
It could have been.
Yeah, there was like honestly, a lot of filler.
It really It bothers me when you have a decent premise and you just sort of
bitch it out.
Not just bitch it out, but you try and get too clever with it and try and be like, oh, well, now it's this.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Leave that for like the prestige horror. Right?
Yeah. You're not
this isn't
you're not blowing anybody's mind with this Abigail script.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple.
Make it fun.
Yeah. The real allure of this film should have been just gruesome, ridiculous kills
by a little girl.
If you wanted to make it, they say comedy. I guess it had some lines in it. Make the comedy lines a bit snappier. I mean, you don't have to really go that far. I mean, look at Evil Dead 2. It's a great horror comedy.
Yeah.
And he's just saying the craziest, corniest stuff imaginable, and we love him for it.
Yeah.
God bless Bruce Campbell. You know what? Hell, cast him in this damn movie, because he would have been fantastic.
He would have hammed the shit out of this.
Oh my
film.
God! He should have been the dad.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Now I'm upset.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell is like, he's always campaigning for work and jobs and stuff.
Yeah, give that guy work.
This should have been a Bruce Campbell movie.
Yeah. So my notes would have been, I agree with you 100%. Leave Abigail as a complete monster. There's no redemption story there. There's no sympathy, nothing. I don't know why the lead actress, like why we needed this backstory about how she whatever, and then her son is out there like Don't care. Like, I don't want to know anything about anybody. Just show me that these guys are on a job, they're getting this job done, and how the night progresses. Like, I don't need anybody's backstories. I don't want to know about their sick grandma or.
Well, I think in her case, they did that because they eventually were going to try and use that as like the sympathy connection between her and with the pinky promise and Abigail, which I didn't want. I did not want that. So you're right. I didn't need to know that she had
a kid out there.
She had a kid out there that she abandoned because she had a drug problem.
Yeah. Who cares?
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It wasn't necessary because I didn't want to see it. That was like the worst part of the movie, trying to build sympathy for this. Yeah. This
it should have just been Abigail just ruthlessly
They should have
everybody.
Just been like towards the end of the film, it should have just been like, let's kill this little bastard, Yeah. Just
or
really trying to kill that's where you're going to get the humor.
Yeah.
Grown men and women trying to just slaughter this little child who is like just flipping around and flying through the air and tearing heads off.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's like the rabbit from Monty Python's and the Holy Grail. She should have just been like boring through people.
Yes.
And everybody just like staring in horror, like, holy shit, run away.
Yes, exactly. And they could have condensed that. I didn't need all that background filler. I mean, I love Giancarlo Esposito, but get rid of him. There was no point to that. And get rid of Matthew Good. Don't need him either.
Replace him with Bruce Campbell.
Replace him. Well, he'd have to be the grandpa because I think
they're vampires. It doesn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Matthew Good had a pound of prosthetics on his face, and they all had those
What was that about?
Those crazy like vampire teeth. Seriously, vampires have like the worst dentures. They're terrible. Like a piranha.
1 to 10. What are you gonna give this?
I'd give it a 5 because it was just completely average.
Really? I was going to give it a 4. I think it's less than average.
You can.
I mean, the only thing I appreciate was that obviously jobs were created for this project. People got paid.
You know what? You're right.
It's not even mid.
It's not even mid. It's
a 4.
It's not good. Yeah. So a 4 for me as well.
Yeah. It just, I mean, again, it's unfortunate because I agree with you. Like the premise, the idea of the story was sort of interesting, be it the execution.
Promise.
Yeah. The execution was just not there. And it felt like a lot of these characters were wasted.
Yeah.
They could have tightened it up. They could have gotten rid of some of, I don't know that they needed all those people in this thing and just make it just, I appreciated the gore, but yeah. Focus.
They were covered in like gallons of blood by the end of that.
The end of that, yeah. So that was fine, but it was just tighten the script and make it more interesting.
Yep.
All right. 4 and 4. I think you could skip it. It's currently streaming on Peacock.
Cack.
But you could also rent it on Prime. But if you need some background screen situations for your Halloween party or your bar or whatever, I guess this would be something to put up. Otherwise, go find something else. This definitely is not folding clothes or attention type movie watching. This is just this is background stuff as far as I'm concerned. All right, and that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.